I chickened out. I'm gonna do some more design stuff, but we're gonna upgrade to a tablet rather than Sketch. So first thing we're gonna look at here is kind of the initial thoughts on what this is gonna look like. So this is gonna be the drive sprocket. It's gonna come right off the motor. It's gonna drive this doohickey, and this doohickey is going to be attached to the sensor carriage. So the sensor is going to go right in there. Frame, I gotta think of a different way. I want it to be able to have a little bit of tension pulling it towards the center so that this rides kind of a perfect curve. I mean, ideally, as it spins, it's going to create that 45.45 millimeter diameter curve. But anything to help make this more reliable in terms of keeping that perfect focal distance. And this is a little counterintuitive, but this is going to be the lens holder. And the lens, the back focus of the lens, there we go, now we can see it. So from the back of the lens to the sensor is 30 millimeters. From the back of the lens is going to be in the arc, the 45 millimeter arc. So the lens is going to be within the rotation of this carriage. Again, counterintuitive, you know, just instinctively you'd think, oh, the lens will be out here somewhere. No, it's going to be within that arc. So in terms of getting this to be a design that we can print and work with while also being sturdy, the other thing that I have to be, that I'm thinking of, or I'm trying to think of, is that this distance needs to be flexible. It would be nice to have a way of adjusting the distance between the back of the lens and the sensor, just to make sure that we get the correct focus, just in case there's something funky in the way everything goes together. I don't understand initially why I did a wedge for the housing part, not the housing, but for the frame. I think I'm going to go ahead and just make these a full rectangle. And then instead of having this bracket, I'm just going to have 2 ribs going across and a rod. We can do a rib right here and run a rod through it, one on each side, and that can be ideally sturdy enough to hold it all together. And then have that rod be attached to a frame. Probably going to do this out of wood rather than print it. And then here would be kind of a mock-up for Raspberry Pi. But something like that. So that'll go on the back. And again, this is the idea here, is that the Raspberry Pi is going to drive the motor and take in the data from not the sensor directly, but through, this is going to be the stand-in for the STM32. So this is going to pull the data off of the sensor, feed it into the Pi. The Pi is going to put it into an image viewer, something like Gimpy. And then of course here is, this is where the NEMA motor would go. And so this motor, again, just a placeholder, but this has a 4 millimeter shaft that we can go ahead and have keyed into that drive gear. The drive gear drives the wedge, and the wedge moves the sensor carriage. There's probably a better way to do that, but this is kind of where I'm starting right now. So the next steps, I'm going to have to rethink this. I think the original idea for this this overhang was just as a way to hold the lens holder. And I'm thinking there's got to be a better way to do that. Ideally, I want it to be one piece, just so that there's less room for things to kind of fit funky and to get out of spec. Because that, if there's a way to print this so that this holder is in unified with the piece that's going to control the curve, I have more confidence that it's going to put the back focus in the right spot. No guarantee. Again, that's why I'd like to have, got to figure out some way of making it so I can adjust this. You know, maybe have this be on a rod that we can slide in and out, and then have a set screw on the side to lock it into place. That's a little too crude. My worry is that the depth of field for this to work properly is going to be really narrow. So, you know, cranking this back and forth on a rod isn't really going to cut it. Having some way of maybe a screw in the front, you could do a screw in the front that, you know, this still would sit on a rod, but the screw would push against the frame and push it along the rod, and that might be easier to control, you know, fine tune, but we'll see. This video is late, but again, the virtue of forcing myself to put something out on a regular schedule has actually moved this along. This wasn't as far along as it used to be. I can show a time lapse of some of the stuff I was going through the last minute when I, you know, kind of forced myself to think about it. So again, to the imaginary audience, this is going to be more helpful to me than informative for you. And we'll see you next week. I think next week we'll probably have something finished in terms of a better initial design here, and either start printing or start putting. I really want to get this Raspberry Pi set up so it can start driving a motor. I've never done it before, so that would be something I'd want to start getting some experience with, because goodness knows that's going to be an important step and a huge roadblock. Anyway, that'll be it.